Hello crafters, I am coming to you live from my laundry room, so I'm sorry if it's echoing a little bit. I'm hiding from the kids. Today is a gloomy, cold winter day. My youngest is napping, so what does that mean? It's craft time. So I wanted to go around the house and do some decals and just DIYs around the house. Little things that I can add some fun labels to, some decals. When you first get your Cricut, I swear you want to add decals to everything, or at least I did. I added it to my car, to my fridge, absolutely everywhere. So if you're a beginner and you're really excited and wanting to get started with crafting some vinyl and decals, I'm gonna show you the few projects that I'm working on right now, and then we'll see where it takes us. Let's go. We're going to start off pretty basic with some decals to add to my coffee jar and my brown sugar. I bought these jars at the local Dollar Tree, and then I believe the other one was just a mason jar that I've had for many years. So we're going to spruce it up a little bit and add a quick and easy decal. So let's hop over to Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Just type the text bar right here, and I'm just typing in brown sugar or whatever else you have in your pantry, rice, quinoa, I don't know, whatever, and change the font, play around with the color a little bit. So you select whatever one you want. You can even download free fonts on defont.com. That's what I love to use for personal use. And for today's video, I just used, a random font that was already on Cricut Design Space for free. But if I were to really, take the time, I probably would download something off of defont.com, make it super cute. But for the purposes of today's video, I'm just going to pull up a random font that I think is cute. The next step is to measure the jars and see how big I need to make these decals. So I'm just going to go in with my little ruler and measure the size here. Wonderful. So I'm going to just size that right here in Cricut Design Space to match. And then we're going to go in with the brown sugar jar and size that one as well. That's it. Now we're ready to go in and press Make It. For today's project, I am using my scrap vinyl, and I'm going to show you right now how to set it up on your Cricut Design Space so that your Cricut machine knows exactly where those scrap pieces are and exactly where you want it to cut out. That way it's not cutting out all over your mat randomly. For this project, I'm trying to use as many scraps as possible to waste no vinyl if possible. So how I set this up is you're going to go into your Cricut Design Space, and when you're in the Make It area, you're going to press this Edit button. And what you're going to do is match it to where it is on your physical mat. And then on the little digital mat, you're going to drag around to match. So it's at the 3 here. That's where it starts, at the 3. So I'm going to drag down this brown sugar decal down to under the 3. Make sure at the bottom it's not cut off. 6, we're good. And then this coffee one, I'm going to drag down right beside it. And then just make sure you double check on your digital mat that it matches your physical real mat in front of you. Perfect, so that is good to go. We're done. We're going to set our materials. So I'm going to look up just vinyl, because this is just regular premium vinyl. We're going to press done. And that's all we need to do, okay? So now we're ready to cut. It's time to load the mat. Just press the arrow. There we go. And then once the C starts flashing, we're good to go.
You were my best friend. Didn't care about the rules, good on the weekend.
Perfect. So now that it's done, I'm just going to hit the flashing unload button. To remove your decal from the mat, flip your mat upside down, hold down your vinyl, and pull the mat away. The mat is super flexible, and this way your vinyl doesn't roll up. Now it's a little rolled up here, but that's because of the way I stored it in my little craft vinyl organizer. I'm going to cut around, that way I can save the most vinyl and reuse the rest for another project. So, brown sugar and coffee. We're going to set this aside for another project. If you are struggling with weeding, adding it to your mat like this makes it so much easier because it makes it so that it's stuck down when you're weeding it. It's not moving around. Just makes it a lot easier. I know it's white, so it's hard to see what I'm doing here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and weed all of this, which is just removing the unwanted parts. Put that. And as I mentioned in my videos, I craft in my kitchen because I don't have a craft area at all. We don't even have a dinner table in our house. We just eat at the counter here. So, you know, that explains why I'm sitting at my countertop and there's an oven behind me. I try to like decorate it a little bit with my little signs that I made, but it's still an oven. Still an eyesore. You do the best with what you can, right? And what you have. Anyhow, at least I am able to craft. Only during nap time, but hey, I'll take it. We're gonna go in one at a time. I'm going to go in with my transfer tape. It's actually this Easy Liner, the Duck brand. It's like a shelf liner. I bought it off of Amazon. You can totally measure it, but honestly, I just eyeball it because I don't really care to make it exact. I know that's going to drive some people crazy, and I'm sorry. Okay. Honestly, if you are a beginner, these are great projects to start off with because one, on Cricut Design Space, it's super easy. All you're doing is just doing the text function, so you can get more familiar with the text function as you're doing these projects. And it's just so fun. Like when I first got my Cricut, I swear everything around my house got a decal on it. My car, everything. Okay. So we're going to do this brown sugar one first. Make sure the lid's on. I feel like most people would do this empty, but it's okay. A little trick I've shown in a couple videos. People will make like these cool little holders for circular items that roll around, but I use a dish towel. You fold both sides like this, and then in the middle it leaves like a little dip. And you're able to just plop it in. I don't have to buy anything or make any cool gadget. I mean, you totally could. People do it a lot for tumblers. Okay, so we've removed our transfer, and now we're just going to apply it. Now, with stuff like this, I go in with the middle. So I stick the middle down first with my finger, and then I go one side again with my finger, because my hand can go to the curve of the item I'm adhering my vinyl to. Whereas this, it's great, but it's straight, so it's not gonna curve. My hand can get a way better curve on the vinyl and just make sure it's on there really good. And then once you know there's no air bubbles, you can go in. If you wanna do that, I honestly just use my hand and pressure, pick up the transfer tape and slowly pull it off. Now, if any of it starts coming up, that's okay. Just push it back down like this and go in, push it down, and then you can pull back again, okay? So we're going to remove that. You can also reuse the transfer tape, which is great. Okay, so that's this one. Super cute. I like the font. I wasn't too sure about it, but I am thoroughly pleased. Okay, coffee. Now, oh, the O. Oh no, not the O. We lost the O. Oh no, get it? Okay. Now the reason I'm doing the coffee one is because my husband and I, one of us drinks decaf and the other one does not. So I'm just putting it on here. This is actually decaf, but the one that has the regular coffee in it is one of the mason jars that have like all of the little raised, bumped like design like this, but all over it. So there's no space for vinyl to be added on. So we're going to do this. I could write decaf on here, but I'm trying to, now I can finally drink regular coffee again, caffeine, thank goodness. So once this is done, it's going to be just coffee in here. How cute is this? Okay, let's go set up our coffee bar area and see how these look. I absolutely love how simple and cute these turned out. I think it's just a nice little touch to our kitchen and it doesn't look too cluttered or overwhelming, which I really love. All right, on to project number 2. This one I'm ashamed as a crafter to show you. So this is what I keep in our little like linen closet in the hallway, and some of it's falling off. So this one said Shark Week. I did have decals on there and it ripped off in the moves. I used painter's tape. Isn't that embarrassing? We had like our shaver stuff in there for my husband and I because we have kids, so we have to keep it up very high. And then all of my hair supplies with painter's tape. I'm ashamed as a crafter. So what I want to do is go in, I'm going to empty these out, remove these little decals and my little DIY decal right here, and we are going to fix it up a bit, organize it a bit better, because in here I don't even have what used to be in here, so we're gonna fix those up.
I want to be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my head down if I want. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time? Doesn't sound like fun.
Are you ready for this one? See, this one doesn't even say anything, it's just like a bunch of lines. I do apologize if you can hear Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in the background, or my kids talking. My youngest is napping, and then my kids play in the living room, and it just gets really loud. Now we're gonna clean this, just like give it a good wipe. Oh, I'm actually gonna take off this sticker too.
Baby, dance the night away. I'll kick my shoes off if I want. Let yourself be free, and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty, honey.
Can you tell I have kids?
Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can't do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. You can.
Now that I am back in Cricut Design Space, we are going to do very similar. Press the text bar here on the left and just type out whatever decal I am wanting to put on. So I'm going to write those all out and then size them to be able to fit on the drawers that I have for my little organizer. Perfect, so that is good to go, and all I need to do is press make it. So again, I am going to be using my scrap vinyl. So I'm going to be doing the same technique where I lay the scraps on, and then I'm going to make sure that they match perfectly to what my digital mat looks like on my Cricut Design Space. Sometimes people do ask in my videos why I cut vinyl the way I do, and I cut out with my scissors around the decal and save all of these little pieces, and this is exactly the reason why. All of these little pieces probably would have been thrown away or just peeled off and wasted, but instead I was able to cut around them in between the decals with my scissors from many different projects over the past few months, and now I'm able to make all of these little decals for today's video essentially from scraps that would have just been in the garbage. So it's pretty much free. How awesome is that? We are going to go in and change our materials, so browse all materials, and I'm just going to type in vinyl because I am just using some premium permanent vinyl. So I'm going to press on that, and then we are ready to jump on over to our Cricut machine. So once the light is flashing, the little arrow, you're going to press that, and then once the C is flashing, you can press that. It is going to do its thing, let it cut out, and then once it's done, it will be flashing again on the arrow. You can press that to unload your mat. In my videos, I do try my best to show a few different techniques because though I show a certain way, that is my way that I like to do it. And there are a lot of different ways to craft, so you could talk to another crafter, or maybe you are a different crafter and you do it a totally different way. That's great. Whatever works for you and whatever you are comfortable with is the way you should do it. So for today, I am showing you a technique that I personally do not use a lot, but it's called reverse weeding. I have been asked to kind of share this and talk about this. In an instance where it would be very beneficial to do reverse weeding is when you have, for example, very thin and small text. Maybe it's cursive, so it's all together, and it's kind of hard to weed that out sometimes. So a great way to actually deal with that is called reverse weeding. So what you're going to do first is remove the inner part of the letters. So let's say you have the letter A, you're going to just remove the little circle in the middle there, okay? And we're going to continue just removing the inside part of the letters that you do not want. You're going to leave the big, square of vinyl or rectangle of vinyl around your font. Leave that there for now. Then we're going to take our transfer tape and put it directly over top the entire decal. So now, when we go to pull it up, the whole thing of vinyl should be coming up. Then I just flip it over and stick it down to my mat with the vinyl side, so the black side is what is there with my weeding tool. And you start pulling away the outside, so the background or the outline kind of it, the part that's not the letters pretty much, that you normally would weed ahead of time. And if you have things like small font or cursive and thin font, this is really great because you're able to have the letters stick down while you pull it up. Now, here I'm going to show you one of the reasons that I personally myself choose not to do this. You can see the I on the word hair doesn't have the little top dot, and that's because when I did the reverse weeding, it came off. Now this happens with regular weeding as well, so it really depends on the crafter, and I feel like for most of us we lose especially the little dots on the eyes. That happens all of the time, so it's okay. Quick fix to this, and like I've mentioned before, I always include my mistakes in my videos, even though they can be super embarrassing, and I still get comments of people being very bothered about my mistakes. I like to keep them in there and show you them because, one, maybe it will prevent you from making that mistake as well, or two, at least if you make the same mistake as me, then I can show you how we're gonna fix that and keep going with this project to make it end up looking beautiful. So don't worry if you make a little hiccup or mistake, we can work together and fix this. So a couple ways you could fix this with the little dot on the eye. You could totally just go in and cut a new eye or just the new dot on the eye. I've definitely had to do that a few times with, let's say, the period of a sentence or an I, different letters and things like that. So definitely could do that. Another way is to just go in like I'm doing here and take that part off of your transfer tape or your little weeding tool and just try to stick it back down. Now in this case, it did not want to stick back down, and that's because I was doing the reverse weeding method, so it was kind of stuck onto my weeding tool and did not want to stick to the transfer tape. So what I did was I stuck it back onto my backing, the white backing from the transfer tape. It's kind of like that glossy texture, so it's able to stick on there and just kind of hold there in the meantime. Now I'm going to go in and just transfer my decal as I normally would, as if it was the whole thing. So we're just going to do the transfer, get that on there with my little scraper, and perfect. And then now I'm going to remove my transfer tape, and with that same transfer tape, because yes, you can reuse transfer tape, which is great, I'm going to go in and stick the little dot of the eye, and then just put it back over top of my decal. Super easy, quick and easy fix. Now, does this happen every time? Absolutely not. And reverse weeding can be really helpful. Like I said, sometimes it is so hard to weed out that really thin and fine text, or the cursive text sometimes is just so tricky. So reverse weeding can definitely come in handy. I just personally don't do a lot of projects with really fine print, and so I did want to show you that technique today. I wasn't necessarily using fine print today or anything, but I did want to show you kind of how it works and the benefits of it. Of course, as I'm trying to show you, I embarrassingly made a little bit of a mistake, but I'm sure I am not the only one to make this mistake, and I'm sure I'll make more mistakes as this video goes on, so we'll see what happens today, but at least now you know how to fix it. So for the rest of the 3 decals here, I'm just doing what I regularly do to weed. which is going in and taking off everything that I do not want on my decal before adding the transfer tape. I personally find this way the easiest for me and the way that I like to craft. Any way you choose to do it is wonderful. Don't worry about it. If this is not your cup of tea, you do it your way. I love it. And please feel free to share it in the comments down below, because I love hearing about different ways that people love to craft, or if you do it the same way that I do. We're just going to take that up and then transfer our decal again. So we're just going to keep repeating this step until they are all onto the little drawers there. I definitely could have just reused the transfer tape if I wanted to, and I probably should have, especially when I'm trying to do a video showing me using scraps. But I ended up just using the ones that I cut out, and now I'm putting everything back in the drawers so that I can show you the finished product and put it back in the closet before the kids wake up and start digging through my stuff. Okay, here we have the decals. I love how they turned out. It's really easy to know what's in there and find it all, so I'm just showing you a quick overview of what we have in here. And I'm able to go and pop this back in the closet. So now we're going to hop on over to project number 3. During this nap time, I'm not going to have enough time to do all of my pantry items, so we're going to go in with the snack bucket. I'm just going to write snacks on here. This is the one we hide at the top from the kids, and it's just for the adults. I mean, there are kids snacks in it, but just for the adults to reach. I also really need to clean this bin because we have like little raisins in here and whatever. So let's get designing. So let's write our label for our decal on Cricut Design. My kids found the snack bucket already that I have here. So they grabbed some snacks while I'm doing this. Because I don't have any scraps left of the black, I'm just going in with this glossy one because I prefer to use matte, especially with the black and the white. So we're going to use the glossy one, that way we're not wasting vinyl on projects just for around the house. I did go in and cut the vinyl off camera. I'm also just quickly reading it. I wanted to make this video as informative, but also not drag it on. I really just didn't want to have to go over the whole step of how to cut the vinyl again because it was the same as the previous two. So I hope that's okay. I do apologize if you were hoping to see that again, but I have tons more tutorials showing that, so not to worry. I just really didn't want to be too repetitive. So I'm just going in and adding the transfer for this one. Now this one was more of a bumpy container, and you can kind of see that where my hand is there. So I did go in at the top and then just had to go in very slowly because the vinyl was having problems sticking to this plastic container for some reason, probably because it was a little bit bumpy. It wasn't as flat of a surface, but this is the finished product. And the reason I wanted to quickly kind of show you this one is to give you an idea of what you could do. Now I'm going to go in and eventually do my whole pantry like this, and it's going to look beautiful and organized. But for today, we're just going to do this because my little one is about to wake up and I don't want her getting into all the stuff. The last one we're working on is a little organizing bin for the cords that we keep up high and away from the kids. I'm trying to pick up speed a little bit because my youngest should be waking up any minute from her nap, and I cannot have all of my stuff out and about or she is going to go exploring with my craft stuff. The downfall, or downside I guess, well, one of the many downsides of not having a craft space. Okay, let me get that bucket. This is the one that I'm adding a decal to. Again, something I put up in the closet. I do not want the kids getting into, so I'm going to label it, that way my husband and I can just easily see it when we open up the closet. Here we have the finished product, and I'm just going to put all of the cords in here and put it back in the closet. I love that it's so easy to find all of these things now that they are labeled, especially when they're up very high in the closet, hidden from the kids. So this is really handy for my husband and I to find things, especially since I move things around so much, he gets very annoyed. I'm really hoping this inspired you to start making decals and projects around your home. Even if you're a beginner, I know it can be super intimidating at first to even open that Cricut box and get started, but I promise you, once you get started, you will not want to stop. anyone else can vouch for me in the comments. It is amazing, and years later I am still absolutely loving my Cricut machine. I genuinely appreciate you taking your time to join me today for these projects and in this video. And I did want to say I really appreciate all of you that write the kind and sweet comments that you do, or the feedback on things that I could maybe be more helpful with in other videos and things like that. I really just appreciate you taking your time out of your day. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really hope to see you in the next video. If you are interested in more DIY, crafts, and Cricut content, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. And I have lots more videos on my channel under my playlists and my videos tab that you can find with lots more crafting and Cricut content. Thank you so much for watching, and happy crafting. Bye bye.